What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing something I haven't done on the channel before and trying to just do one take video. I'm right now in my Airbnb. I have to leave for Austin tomorrow. We're in Waco, so it's not super far, but we got to drive down early. My wife has to work. She's getting ready for bed, and then I'll be trying to Monday qualify for Waco. But I wanted to give you guys an in the bag for what I actually ended up throwing this week in Waco, because the tournament is over. That recap will be coming very soon, I think on Wednesday. Or Tuesday, because tomorrow I have something really, really exciting with AB that I'm going to be posting. And then we filmed a couple things, but tomorrow will be one just really fun video. Big shout out to him for the week for finishing better than 48th place or whatever. I think it was Statmando said that he did. But we'll get started with kind of the accessories that are in the bag. I always had kind of extra clothes. This was just in there today in case it got too cold when I was out filming with Drew, which is why this is like getting filmed so late. I had some chalk bags. I think these are from Loot, and then I had some tacky sacks. I don't have like a chalk bag sponsor or anything, but just whoever kind of had sent me some for free is what I had with me and used. Snacks, I got some Chewy bars. I think I had maybe had some beef jerky at one point. I didn't really eat too many snacks. Apples. I had some apples and I had a bagel one day, and that really helped, but I'm not really a big breakfast person. I need to figure out something to eat in the mornings. Towels. Inside, another apple, classic. Got some minis in here. This is the mini I used a lot, and then another one I used yesterday. I forgot on the course, so that's fun. But yeah, hopefully there's a lost and found that I'm able to snag that at. I have just like Gatorade and water that I brought, so I had some electrolytes just in case. Sometimes I get like tired and dehydrated, and it's just electrolytes that I need to get back in my system, as well as just water. And then patches, whatever. I brought this bag not because this is my favorite bag, but honestly, both of these zippers have broken over time as I've used it, but mostly because it was the easiest to travel with and fit a ton of discs to practice with, because I could fill the side pockets, put waters in here, fill up 3 in each of these, so like it fits so many bags. I think it's a Discology bag. I have them linked in the description of most of my videos because I have an affiliate link with them. Did have a rangefinder because I think it's important to use one of these on the course when you're practicing, and then during the tournament it's also nice, especially because they haven't like banned it yet. I wouldn't mind if they did end up banning them for like tournaments for Pro Tour or PDJ, like taking play. Like I'm not on either side of the fence, but whatever the rules are, I'm going to follow the rules because I want to play this game for a long time. Otherwise, I got another towel. I have just a band to warm up. A lot of towels because it was like kind of raining. And then just more snacks. Some apple crisps that I never end up using. Some more sacks, bags, my AirPods for warming up. And then probably some camera batteries that I forgot to take out of here. Oh, this is where that beef jerky was. I was looking for it one day. Couldn't find it. Now let's get into the actual discs, because as you guys can see, there is like not a lot of discs in here. And when I did my building the bag series, I broke down probably 6 or 7 molds in each of the putters, mids, fairways, and drivers that I was bagging. And all that was just to say, like, these are molds that I'm willing to work with. And so I brought actually a bag that's in the back of my rental car right now that includes, it's a fieldwork bag, and it has all those discs and like some backups and a lot of extras, especially the drivers, because it's long courses, obviously. Hopefully if I get into Austin, I might have to change out some drivers. Probably not. I think I'm getting pretty settled with this, but essentially my whole goal was to play these practice rounds that I had, which were basically all filmed, and figure out which discs I did and didn't need, because going from Denver to Austin, or Waco, going to Texas, the elevation drops from about mile high to closer to sea level. I don't quite know what it is, but the mid-flight really gets elongated. Things like flip up faster, they hold turns longer, they don't fade as hard, and so I had to figure out all that, and doing that with every single disc that I possibly could be bagging would be insane. I don't even think I fully figured it out with basically any of these discs, but I got close with some of them, and close enough that it was comfortable to use for the tournament. And so actually back here, hidden behind the bag, I have a pile of discs that I ended up not bagging that we did talk about, basically just because during the practice rounds, if I didn't throw it very much, I like put it in a side pocket, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see if I use this again. And if I never thought of reaching for the side pocket or had absolutely no need to, then I just didn't bag it, because it's another like thought that would be in my head that I wouldn't have to use or want to use on the course. So we have the finish line disc Rally right here. It just was very similar to a Centurion for me. It's very kind of flippy down here, very flip up, go straight. I wanted something straighter, like Athena, more like a FD1 that's not the C line. And so I didn't bring any of those. So I didn't have that slot, and that was okay because of some stuff that we'll have in the bag soon. I have this iBlend Ferro, which is very, very flippy. I thought, hey, I'll only need this in a big tailwind, and I changed my release point to be less of just like a stock hyzer and much more of kind of flat, because if I throw something flatter, it's going to be able to drift right and left, but if I'm choosing more neutral discs, they're not really going to move too far right to left, and that's what I'm worried about, something moving too far right and left. And so if I just throw it flatter, it's going to mitigate that, and that helped me to throw better. I have my premium Marvel here, which is a throwing putter. I just didn't need it. I had enough throwing putters, and I didn't even use them all that much. Oh, this is for, you'll see something about this tomorrow. Never had a chance to go in the bag. This forged interval was not in the bag. It was another distance driver that I didn't need to worry about because there were no shots in either of the courses. I'm like, yes, this is the shot, and it's not another disc where I can either throw my Iceland Emperor flat or flex another Emperor or hyzer flip a Pharaoh. And so it's just like, it was an in-between that I didn't really need because we didn't have any long-wooded shots, luckily. And so I didn't really have to pull this out for those. And so wasn't in the bag. It's also gotten relatively flippy down here. I have this Nate Turner A2, which I really like. It just gets a little gummy now that we're in Texas and it's a little warmer. And so I still have the A2. You'll see another one of those in the bag. I have this Island Chariot, which I liked, but it just got very similar to kind of Pathfinders. And this one has been an Island's been in the bag for a while. It's gotten a little beat in. And so as I was like turning it and expecting it to kind of fight out to flat or maybe even finish, it just kind of held the turn the whole way now that we're down at a different elevation. So this one came out of the bag. And then lastly, I had Pathfinders. I brought down a couple of them and ended up not bagging any Pathfinders just because they're too similar to the Chariots. And again, it's another one where it's like, it'd be a question. It's like, oh, should I throw the Pathfinder or should I throw the Chariot? And you'll see what I ended up bagging, but it's just Chariot, obviously, if I'm not bagging Pathfinders. But essentially, it just turned out to be that I didn't really think that I needed to learn 3 different mid-ranges when there weren't even that many mid-range shots in general. I'd rather have one that I can throw flat to flex and one that I can throw on hyzer and just know what they're going to do. And so all that being said, none of those discs ended up making the bag. Centurions are not in the bag either. I don't have any of these here. I didn't actually put any in here because I felt like it was going to be a slight overlap with Sphinx and Dynasties since I don't know any of them well enough. But obviously putting putters, we're still putting with Stiff Marvels. As you guys will see during the recaps, I actually putted all right. I changed from stagger to inline the last round, and I putted fine. It's all the scorekeepers are volunteers, and so some of the scoring isn't quite accurate. I think I missed a total of 7 Circle 1 putts throughout the event, which is not good, but it's a little bit better than my stat keeping shows. Only made like a couple of Circle 2s, made a really sick outside of Circle 2 putt. But next, going through throwing putters in mids, we have 5 of them, which I don't even know if I threw. I think I threw all these during the tournament. Maybe not well, but I threw all of them. We have, for throwers, this base plastic marble. I don't really think I threw this much, maybe for some touch-up shots, but this is pretty flippy now and much more like a slower approach disc. I don't know if I'm going to need this and the next disc we'll talk about over the long run, but in my head, they're still for 2 different purposes, and so I use them as such. That's more of an approach putter, and then more of a driving flippy putter is kind of this Envy. I have this Electron Firm Envy. It's gotten a little warped now, but still flies fine for me, and so just a nice little pop-up to flip. I don't know how long this will be in the bag, obviously, either. I probably would rather have like a premium Envy that would fly like it because I don't really throw approaches with it, and I don't want to reach for it as much because it is a base Envy. I threw a really bad shot with this the final round. Ooh, that was rough. Don't want to remember that anymore, but we're putting that back in the bag. And then I have this premium Envy, which is the Eclipse 2.0 Shattered Van 1.0 Envy, which very overstable. I really like it. I can throw it hard and flex it, and it'll pan back to flat, even though it's a putter, and I'm throwing it pretty hard. And then maybe even finish. And if I throw it on hyzer, it's just gonna really want to push to the left, which is nice, but cause for some potentially errant shots, and also some really good ones during the tournament. So, I threw a really, really, really good shot with this on hole 17 the last day. This was really, really good to fight off that left-right wind. And then I have ESP Zone, which I brought some backups, but this worked for just kind of flat or slight hyzer, throw it on a forehand. I even was able, if I'm going right at the basket, just a touch of flex and just sit it down. Really good up shots with this. And then this is the A2 that I had in the bag. It's the new 300 Fractal, which is Fractal, I think is just like, they can have it on multiple plastics, but Dallas Stars one. Sense Prodigy was the ones who got me into this tournament. They were the ones who got me in the tournament through an exemption. They hooked me up with hats to wear every day, just as a part of them giving me the exemption. So I wore those every day that I played the tournament, and obviously Infinite on the back, and Infinite was okay with it. But they also gave me some sweet A2s. They gave me this one. They gave me an Isaac Robinson World Championship one, and a Vino, one of the new Signature Series. And all the new Prodigy Signature Series lineup is out. I'm very excited for kind of when it comes down to Infinite because some of it's really cool. I can't wait to film hopefully with Isaac Robinson for his new Signature Series that came out because it's the FX4 and I really want to throw those things because his came out looking sweet. They feel good and they're like just such a nice little flip up disc. Probably not going to go in the bag, but I love Isaac, dude. I got to know him really well this week and he is just like such a sweetheart. But moving on from putters, we have the mid-ranges. We have only two, which is perfect, especially with putters being the straighter slots. And I feel like these push a little bit farther, but especially in the woods, it's probably going to be between like putters and mids, I'm thinking about, versus fairways, rather than putters versus mids versus fairways. So I have a Midnight Pro 2, which is kind of my hyzer flip. Didn't really throw this too much, and it's not really as flippy as I want it to be at times. There was some winds that kind of played against that, and I could have thrown like better lines and shots with it. But this is definitely what I need for like that hyzer flip up to straight and a little bit of drift. I probably want a different origin. I'll turn even more if I do like want to use that shot more, but it was typically a scramble shot. If I'm scrambling with it anyways, it's going to be harder. And then I have this S blend Chariot, which Isaac Robinson obviously drew all over for me. Massive thank you to him. And I guess I've been putting my thumb where the hat is. So that's super fun. And this disc was a workhorse. I really, really fell in love with the Chariot this week, just for those kind of flat to slight flexes through. Oh, we had a ripping headwind on what was a hole 14 at the Beast the last day, and I just like it's 310 feet straight ahead, typically throwing forehand, but just such a hard wind because it's a head left to right to like flex something perfectly into. And I already wasn't throwing my forehand with my scepter very well, and so just like let me just rip this straight at the basket on a touch of hyzer, and just picked up road straight and I parked it. So really been loving this Chariot, these S blend ones. Maybe we'll have some of these available very soon. Hopefully when I get to Austin, I'll have some package that I'm able to share with you guys. But these really worked for me. And now we're going to move into the fairway drivers, which not all of these saw tournament use. I think, well, one of them didn't, and that's about it. Everything else did see tournament use. And it's not as many as I said because I had Centurions, Rally, and FD1, so those three. And then I had Sphinx, Dynasty, Scepter, Cap Wrap, and Roman were all the available ones that I had in this slot. And obviously I can have multiples of each of those, and I only have 5 in the bag. A lot of that is just because of lack of comfortability with specific ones and not having enough time to learn them all because I only really had about 2 days to practice. And honestly, the first one of these, the FD1, I didn't really throw super well. I expected it to be kind of as stable as it was in Denver, and maybe this is a slightly flippier one than a purple one that I have. I'm going to have to test them out in Austin maybe, especially if I'm able to get into the tournament and really take my time. Otherwise, this might not even get thrown during the Monday qualifier tomorrow, which I'll be playing, just because it's overstable, but I threw it on a couple shots where I'm like, oh yeah, let me just hammer it hard on some flex and have it fight back out, and it just kind of never did. I probably threw it too low, but I also was like, that's a little bit odd that this isn't doing what I thought it would be doing. But this is the only 7 or 8 speed that I was bagging because I wanted something that was a little bit shorter and still overstable. I don't really think I threw this well a single time this week that I can remember. But I threw it bad a couple times, so that's fun. And then next we have the Sphinx, which I also don't think I threw at all, but it's really nice to have had this just like if I need big panning turnover, if I need something that is going to be a roller, or I want something like this in the bag always. And the Sphinx is one of my favorite discs. I just didn't really have time to figure out the flip points of almost anything, so everything was kind of coming out on either one stock hyzer that I had practiced that specific disc with, or as flat as I possibly could throw it, so that it just kind of didn't really move right to left at all and just like rode straight on that line. And that was really only a couple of these discs in this bag. I threw probably the same 5 discs off of 90% of the holes this weekend. But we had the Sphinx here, money. Next up is the Dynasty, which I actually threw a lot more than I thought I would. I parked, I think, hole 14 at Lake Waco with this on just like a nasty little hyzer flip up and just ride straight. Didn't even hit anything, just like it was like 15 feet away. Perfect little shot. This one I was loving actually on the forehand too. I really like how torque resistant it is. And like I play with Eric Oakley obviously, and he's a big Dynasty thrower and a big forehand guy, and he just loves to kind of hyzer flip them up. This is the Metal Flake Color Glow one. These are on my site right now as well. If you want to wait to snag these so you can snag some of the new stamp that's going to be dropping probably next week, definitely go ahead and wait, or you can snag them now if you want. But this is a really money run and a really solid just kind of flip up forehand disc and flip up backhand disc. I didn't end up throwing it on as many tee shots as I wanted to on my backhand because I ended up throwing one of the other discs we'll get to because I really wanted to throw something flatter so that it didn't really move left to right, and I didn't have to worry about did I throw on too much or too little hyzer and would it turn too much. I just wanted it to just basically go straight with a little fade, and this does that if you throw it on enough with the right hyzer, and I didn't really feel like I had that dialed, especially when I didn't feel like I was throwing well, which we'll get to in that video. 2 more fairways. We have the Scepter, which I'm not really getting along with too well right now, at least this specific one. I had the cap wraps as well, and I'm thinking I might throw that for Austin, but this is a solid backhand disc. I've thrown some really good shots with it. I threw a sick forehand roller with this disc on hole 12 the last day, which put me in a position to make an incredible putt. Best putt I made of the tournament by far. But just forehanding this thing, I'm not great at the forehand. I realized today as I was playing with Drew that a lot of it is just my aim point is very straight instead of left, trusting that it'll get stable. Because this actually it's in the bag and without a cap wrap because I don't think I need both. This is very much the overstable scepter that I was looking for. I don't really need a cap wrap at all, and so I like having this in the bag, and I want to have something like it. It is just weird for me having a halo one because I'm so used to having something that is like see-through. It's like a sea line or like a glow or something. So maybe I'll get one of those just because it's like my brain will be more used to it, which is so stupid. But this disc flies very good, and I just still haven't fully trusted it, I think, which is why I am not liking it as much. But sometimes, it is what it is. And then lastly is the Infinite Disc Roman. I really like this disc. I threw it forehand a couple times. We had a ripping tailwind on hole 14, which is that same one that I parked with the Chariot, and I threw this on just a touch of flex because I wasn't really turning over things too much. So I didn't want to throw my scepter, and so I just popped that on baby flex on a forehand and just kind of rode straight with a little fade, parked it as well. So both days parked out on that hole. And this disc really did me well. It's one of the newer ones that's a little domier that has the Roman embossment on the bottom instead of the Ronin, and it's honestly a little domey. It like rounds it over a little bit more than I thought I thought I would like. But I actually think the flatter ones I might give a chance again at going back in the bag. But having a Roman in my bag is like I could not live without this disc. I treated this thing like a 7-speed and a 10-speed and a 9-speed and an 8-speed. Like I threw this for that just neutral slot over and over and over again, and it didn't let me down this week. I let it down sometimes, but this disc was really good workhorse for me throughout the entire week. And those are my 7 to 10 speeds. And now moving on to the drivers, we have a lot. And some of them never got thrown, or some of them were for very specific holes, and some of them just like I threw poorly. So I really threw mainly these two drivers, and the rest of them got a little bit of play. Some of it was good, some of it was bad. But the two that I mainly used were my iBlend Emperor. This thing has gotten pretty seasoned so that if I throw it on a touch of hyzer, it'll stand up and just like basically ride straight. It won't really turn at all because it's so domey. It doesn't really like to turn. But if I throw it on some anhyzer, it'll hold, and fight. I was throwing this thing really far, like hole 12, throw a bomb into a headwind. Really liking how this thing flew. Got it past pin high on that 430-foot slightly uphill hole into a headwind at Lake Waco. Like this thing really likes to go for me. And if I needed something more overstable, I would throw my Halo Emperor with the Bonanza stamp. This thing is beefcake. Like I can rip it hard on Annie and it'll fight out. It is much more dependable, like reliable. And I threw this on the headwind on hole 18 at the Beast day 1 and put me right in the middle of the fairway. I was like, oh my gosh, did I turn over too much? No, this thing's coming back. It's dependable. These Halo ones, really nice. I've learned that if you find like the black on the outside and the white flight plate, they tend to be really good, as well as cotton candy, I've heard, which are pink and blue. So if you get any of those combinations, they should be money for you. The other ones I had in the bag that I didn't really throw all that often, and a part of it is just like learning those slip points. These are very obvious. Like I can throw this slight hyzer or flat, and it's going to do exactly what I want. Ride straight for a while with a little bit of fade. And this one I can throw degrees of anhyzer that vary very significantly, and it'll always ride on it and then fight out of it. And so this was very dependable. The ones that I didn't quite get too much, but I threw a little bit, were this Erica Stinchcomb and Faro. This thing bombs, dude. Like throwing it on a little like hyzer stand up bombs. I threw a really stupid shot on hole 10 at Lake Waco. I was out of position. I threw a decent drive, and then I kind of hit a tree on an upshot, and I was like, I'm 500 out. I'm just going to send this thing past the Mando. I'm already not playing phenomenal, and boom, I ripped it. Hyzer flip. If I would have thrown a little flatter, I think I honestly would have basically got there, and I ranged it like 500, 515. I was about 60, 70 short OB, unfortunately, but this thing bombs. I just didn't really take the time to learn the flip points too much. But these Pharaohs do feel very good, and so that's what was in the bag this week. Beyond that was the Emperor that Gannon signed, the S-Blend one. This one is flatter, so it should be good for forehands. But the stability I still didn't figure out, and I didn't take the time to figure it out, so that's why I didn't figure it out. But I know that like I can throw it on anhyzer and it'll hold for a very long time, but it will get some stability and fight out late because it is a little flatter. Forehand, I threw some decent forehands with it. I could chop it over a little bit. I did almost. I didn't almost, but I threw hole 7 at the Beast, which is the Eagle Bowl par 4. I kind of chopped this thing over on some anhyzer on a perfect little angle because I actually eagled it during a practice round with this on a forehand, and I just threw it too low, but the angle is perfect. But if I would throw it higher, maybe I would have an eagle on the scorecard. I'd still have to make a putt, but that disc is good. I'm gonna have to get some work with it. But honestly, going to Waco, or going to Austin tomorrow, I will probably just throw these two off every single tee. Like, there's no reason, unless I need like a big turnover or there's no danger that I can like worry about these, because like this one kind of overlaps these two, so maybe it doesn't need to be in the bag. But then Gannon drew on it and signed it, so okay, maybe I'm gonna do a little bit of editing. Next is the Finish Line Glow Radiance Interval, Radiant instead of Glow. But this one is Drew's new signature series, I believe. I didn't really think I was gonna have it in the bag, and then during practice round, I like had it in like the side pocket, and I took it out on hole 17 and just like parked it at like Waco, and I was like, well, maybe this will be the disc for this hole. We had the same wind, so I just took it out, ripped it. A little more hyzer than I wanted, but this is very much what I think my intervals should be. Very like neutral, not gonna move too much right to left, and so that was sick. Not flipping up, just like riding straight on the hyzer. I ended up birding hole 17 at Lake Waco last day. And so that was fun, and second day. But this disc is sweet. I'm gonna need to get some more work with it. I threw it a little bit today with Drew. Not a lot of long holes to be throwing a lot of drivers on, but I think this is one I can see a lot of use for, that is between these two, in that these two are gonna move a lot more left to right. This one's not, but it's also gonna be torque resistant and stable, which is really nice. And lastly is the Conquer. I thought I would need this in the wind. I ended up just throwing slower with my overstable Emperor here and not really needing my Conqueror. So I maybe could have used it, but there were a couple times during practice that I like threw it, that I like just probably rolled it over because I expected it to be so overstable. And I'm like, why do I even need this when I have the Halo Emperor? And so I don't even know if I'll need Conquerors when I have these guys, but I had it in the bag, and it's kind of nice, especially like if I need big flare skips. This is going to skip a little bit more than these guys, and so I can just throw it on a little bit of anhyzer, get back to flat, and then skip straight left. Didn't need that this weekend, but if I did, I would have it. So this is probably the bag that I'm going to be using for the Monday qualifier at Austin. And I mean, I could change some stuff, but there's kind of no need to. I could take a few molds out, but I already know which ones I'm comfortable with. And I might take a few molds out just to not tempt myself, just in case. But I'm hoping that I can get into that. I'm literally going to post this video after I do the one edit, like right now. And so that's my in the bag for Waco. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means the world to me. It's crazy just to have gotten this opportunity, and now to have gotten this experience. And hopefully I made you proud. And I know that this is like the start of a massive journey, and I'm still like on the very young side of it. And you guys understand that in a way that I didn't think you understood fully, or maybe you like didn't understand on the same level, because of course it's like social media. It's like, what have you done for me lately? But all the support that I've gotten, everyone that I've met here, it's just been immensely supportive and positive. And I know there are people who say whatever online, and like I don't listen to the people who like detract, or not even necessarily detract, but just like don't see the full context and the full picture, because the full picture isn't like this one weekend. It's this weekend in context of the next 3 years of my desire to play professionally on the Pro Tour. And I maybe was ready, maybe wasn't ready. You'll find out in that video soon for this weekend. And I learned a lot, and I at least had one good round. Maybe more, maybe a lot more, maybe every round. But I at least had one really good round, or at least a solid round that helped me to learn a lot and settle in. And I'm hoping to build upon that here soon. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Peace.